It's Tuesday, February 5th, Wednesday, February 6th, if you're on the East Coast or across the pond. And this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. Hope you had a great day and night. I am your host, Dave Scott, broadcasting to you live from on top of the mountains of central British Columbia, right here at SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show, including Deep Talk Radio, Revolution Radio, and everyone else on our terrestrial side. If you want to take a listen to our archives, we have them free for you at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you. You can rock out to Bumblefoot, go shopping at our Spaced Out Radio store, read up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire, and so much more. Tonight's show is brought to you by the YouTube channel Ensuho. Sebastian Martin brings high-quality messages to the masses. Head to our website, click on the Ensuho banner, and subscribe today. The first Tuesday of every month, Geraldine Orozco from Bay Area Meditation in San Francisco, California, joins us for The Spiritual You. This show is designed to help people understand themselves and how to get in touch with their inner selves along with their intuition. We also discuss ET contact and what it's like to have beings from above come around. Geraldine was a successful businesswoman until her own awakening just a couple of years ago. Now, she's turned her previous success into success helping people define who they are one day at a time. Geraldine's website is bayareameditation.com. Then at the bottom of hour number 3, we have Olaf Phillips from Paranoia Magazine back with the SOR Newswire. Geraldine Orozco, always a pleasure to have you coming on the show. How are you?
Hi, Dave. I'm fantastic. Thank you for that intro. I'm so excited to be here starting another amazing month.
Hard to believe we're in month number 2 of 2019 already, and it's going to be a very exciting year for you. You have just a plethora, if we can use that term, of conferences that you're going to be speaking at. The big one coming up this March, UFO MegaCon in Laughlin, Nevada. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
That's right. I am so excited about this conference. It's going to be an immersive experience where we get to really connect with people that come. And, I mean, we're going to have several experiencers that are going to be speaking at the event. And the kind of speakers that they selected are just a wonderful selection of people that are experiencing these things firsthand. I think we're coming into a time where we are realizing that we really are the disclosure in terms of we are kind of talking about our own experiences that we're having and kind of filling in the blanks between what the experts are saying, what science, what physics is saying, and kind of merging all of those into one. So I'm really excited about this event. We have some incredible speakers, and I'm really proud to be a part of that. I'm also going to be speaking at Beyond the Matrix. And before I get into that, actually, I want to mention that I'm going to be featuring the film documentary that I'm a part of for the hybridization program. So we will be there with some of the cast of the film. So you will get to meet and greet with us and learn about the movie and behind the scenes and all that good stuff. So I'm very excited to talk about that as well. Right before that conference, I'm going to be in Sedona on March 19th to the 20th at Beyond the Matrix with Sci-Fi TV events with Suzanne Ross and several other amazing speakers, including Misha Johnson, Brad Olson, many, many different speakers.
Good
and
people.
her
Good people.
Yeah, they're amazing. And Shakina Rose, so a couple of really great people there too. And later on this year, in June, at the end of June, we're going to be doing a retreat with Alba Weinman up in Mount Shasta. So I'm very excited about that as well. Yeah, it's going to be an incredible vortex eclipse weekend. We're going to be having an incredible speaker from Australia, coming all the way from Australia, Blair Styra. And he is a channel and a psychic, and so we're collaborating with him to create a weekend of deep immersion and reconnection. So it's an incredible year, and I have other events that are coming up that I'm going to be posting soon. So, yeah, Dave, it's time to do the work.
Are you going to try one of those Zendras at Mount Shasta? Are you setting up one of those?
No, but that sounds like an amazing idea. That sounds like a wonderful idea.
I want to do that so bad.
That sounds like an awesome idea. Well, maybe we should put a little retreat together up there with the Zendra. Wouldn't that be fun, Dave?
That would be incredible. Absolutely incredible. The other thing I wanted to mention is when you're in Laughlin, Nevada, just for our Spaced Out Radio family, I want to let them know that Johnny Enoch, who helped me put this radio show together back in 2014, along with one of our fan favorites here, Samantha Mowat, will be speaking at this event as well. You haven't met them, so you have to do me a favor, Geraldine, give them a big hug, tell them who you are and how you're part of the Spaced Out Radio family. I would really appreciate that, and you're going to love both Samantha and Johnny, that's for sure.
I cannot wait to meet both of them. I mean, I've heard their incredible stories and their work that they're doing out in the world, and I'm just honored to meet them. So I can't wait, Dave, and I'm sure we'll connect with you, and hopefully, everyone that's tuning in, if you guys want to follow or show up, hopefully you guys show up to the conference and meet us all there. That would be wonderful. I'm really excited about that. And I did forget one event that I'm going to be doing in a couple weeks in Tucson, actually, with Vivian Chauvette. And we're doing a synchronization workshop, and it's actually my birthday weekend. So I'm excited about that this month, February 17th. So, celebrating my birthday, doing something that I love, which is connecting with you guys and, really trying to get some deep work done. So, that's what's in store.
Geraldine, we have a whole bunch of brand new listeners from KZFX 93.7 FM in the high desert of California that just joined us last night. And they are very, very positive about what they heard last night. We want to get them to know you. You're in San Francisco. That California connection really channels on through. So tell everybody who is brand new to us and brand new to you, how you go from making a very, very good income with a successful business in San Francisco to giving it all up to help people.
Mm-hmm. This is what it comes down to. It comes down to your paradigm shifting and changing. I think when we experience these impactful situations in our life, like what happened to me, my journey began in 2013 when I first had my contact experience, and I was literally taken out of my room into a ship where I was introduced to my hybrid children. And just that term right there, my hybrid children, is what completely changed and transformed my entire life. It changed the way I looked at things. I understood myself and the world around me. And it took me several years of self-discovery and understanding things to really take the plunge. And it wasn't until I got my regressions in 2017 that I actually, realized and confirmed my experience through hypnotic regression. And that really just opened the door to a whole entire dimension of understanding. My paradigm had to change. Everything that I thought was real, everything I thought was important, my ideals about family, about who I needed to be as a woman in my life, as a career woman, everything changed. And it was no longer resonating with me. It was no longer true for me. My struggles and my, all of my goals that I had set up for myself as a successful business person just didn't have any purpose anymore. I didn't have any reason. So I had to really dive really deep and look inside myself and figure out what are my true core values now in this new understanding. And really, it came down to destroying all of my belief systems, everything from what family meant to what religion meant for me to what my state and government meant for me. What this entire matrix reality around us was presenting itself to me, and what was real, what was really truly resonating with me. So I think a lot of us are kind of going through this moment of questioning all of these systems and trying to find our place in them. And that's kind of what happened to me. And when that happened to me and I found information through my regressions, this is not something that you can just put your sunglasses back on and kind of just sit back. You can't put your blinders back on. You there's change that has to happen. And if it wasn't for my ability to work with myself and with the knowledge that I had equipped myself with throughout the years by becoming a pranic healer, a quantum energy healer, and working with shamanic energy work, I really don't know how I would have been able to come up from this, I guess, dark night of the soul, you can call it. I guess what I found was that I am not alone. And it's really that right there that gave me the strength to change, really focus on providing for others that are going through this problem, through these situations. When I finished doing all of my regressions, I found out that I had 24 hybrid children in 4 different hybridization programs. And all of that helped me realize that as a lifelong abductee, since I was 5 years old, of having experiences, of having implantation, removal, gestation, all of these processes that had impacted my life without my knowing, without my understanding, it made me look outside at other people that are experiencing these things, and trust me, they're out there. There are thousands of men and women around the world that are experiencing contact and are having these kinds of experiences where they are meeting their hybrid children, or they are having miscarriages, and they are having unexplained illnesses, and all of these strange occurrences, dreams, interdimensional contact that nobody is really stepping up to the plate to talk about openly. It's not, and what I mean by that, it's not in mainstream, but now we're coming into a moment where it's coming into mainstream. So this is the time that we have to utilize this spotlight to talk about the things that are important to us, to the humans, to each one of our souls. And this is my drive. So every day, my life is dedicated to doing DNA reprogramming sessions where I help people go really deep into deep programming from the matrix and assisting them in getting rid of all this heaviness that they're carrying with them so that they can lighten their frequency and move out of that state of suffering, of cyclical trauma, pain, and patterns that they keep coming into. So, I'm happier than I've ever been my entire life, and I feel very much in alignment with everything that I do, with everything I feel. And that's what I would like to share with all of you and help you get to that point, to thrive in your life, not just suffer and thrive, to have this joy. And that's basically what keeps me going, Dave.
A lot of people would have trouble understanding that, Geraldine, because life is busy. Life is hectic. There's really no rest time. If you're a family, a married husband, wife, or whatever the relationship may be, there's usually 2 jobs, 2 incomes, children, the dog, the cat. There's not much time to relax. There's not much time to really do anything for oneself anymore. Is that a product of us as individuals or of society that brings that on?
Yeah, and that's an awesome question. If you can get to the point of asking that question, I think that there's a lot of breakthrough to be made, because when you start questioning where all of these belief systems came from, then you start to look at that a lot of these things are really not our ideal of a family, right? These are things that society has imposed on us. And one of the things that we need to start looking at is how our reality is fragmented. It's divided into so many of these sections that causes a very deep perception, the illusion of the separation of first of all, within ourselves, our identity, how we feel, the role that we have to play as, let's say, a father, provider, and even a spiritual person. All of these things are separate things, and we feel that we have to compartmentalize them separately. And that is, I think, one of the biggest mistakes that we are continuing to do. But this is what our system is providing. This is what the system is allowing us to feel that is necessary. So that has to change. And I think the more that we look at and question our reality, we realize that really what needs to happen for us to be able to live a life that's integrated, that's thriving, that's happy and exciting, is an integration of all the aspects of ourselves. So not to be separate between our roles, to just be one person and play that one integration through all of these aspects of life, whether it's at work, whether it's at home with your children, family, friends, whatever it is that you're doing. Your state of being, your state of reviewing and perceiving experiences is always going to come from one place. And that shouldn't be hard. That should be the easiest, less stressful, and less painful way of living, actually. In the beginning, when we're becoming aware of these things, there's going to be a lot of, maybe there will be some stress because we are just learning about the new sides of ourselves and how to put all these pieces together. But once we get through that aspect, then everything just opens up and you become in alignment with your life and everything that you're doing. So all of these structures of belief that we are living through, that we are believing through our society, those are things that we have to start questioning. And the more we do, we will allow ourselves to open up to opportunities of new solutions, new ways of living. Our education for our children, how the pharmaceutical industry is managing food or pharmaceuticals for us, how we are perceiving and looking at the priorities in our life. That means, are we prioritizing stress and making money and survival over health and vitality and a unit in the family? So all of those things have to come back into balance. But obviously, the first thing that we need to do is become aware of that imbalance. So I think it's one thing at a time.
The one curiosity that I have in regards to that when it comes to balance is, let's say you're a single parent of children where maybe, and let's face it, with today's living wages, some people have to have 1, 2, sometimes 3 jobs just in order to put food on the table and a roof over the head, never mind clean clothes or anything along those lines, because there's a lot of people who are financially stressed these days in regards to it. So I could see those single parents, whether they're men or women, who are struggling every day to try and find that 5 minutes for themselves when survival, as you said, is the most important.
What it comes down to is our entire perception of reality, Dave. You see, we have been programmed to believe that we are in survival mode. And this is on every level. This has to do with the structure of money, with the structure of health, with the structure of belief that revolves around education and what it means to be a successful person. I think that we need to start questioning what success means. One thing is surviving, trying to pay the bills, trying to do all of, these things in order to survive and provide for our children. But what happened in our system that we are made to be put into this constant survival mode? Where is the governmental support for this single mother that needs support during that time? And so when we start looking at all these things, we start to look at all the things that are going wrong in our society, all the things and what led us to this point. And there's a lot to look at. There's a lot of accountability that has to happen from ourselves as individuals, and there's accountability that has to happen from our system, our society, our government. And the thing is that a lot of us are living life, and we just continue seeing all of these things that are inconsistent, all of these things that are wrong, but we keep going. We keep following along with that pattern. So the question is, how much longer do we want to continue living in this state of survival mode? And the answer to that is understanding how these systems are structured around us. Okay, everything is very interconnected. Okay, our educational system is dependent on our government, our financial industry, and behind the scenes, we have many layers of systems that are codependent on each other, everything from the food industry to the financial industry to government. And when we start lifting the veils and looking beyond at what is connected to each other, we start looking at a pattern here that maybe ourselves, the human, is not really the primary focus in all of these governmental, movements. So that really allows us to question and start to look at where we are investing our time, our money, and our attention. If we're going to live our life in a state of survival mode, allowing all of these systems to continue to play those roles, then that's our fault. Because if we know that all of these systems are working against the health of ourselves and our family, then we have to start looking at other ways of living that are not in that manner. You see, Dave, we are actually capable of sustaining ourselves in abundant and perfect balance, far away from all of these governmental and economical structures. And as we're coming into a new paradigm of consciousness and belief and understanding, it's time for us to take responsibility for what we're capable of doing. Everything is possible. And unity and grouping and community, our concept of community has to change. Why do we have single mothers striving by themselves to try to survive here? We need to help each other. And I think that level of consciousness has to start becoming more apparent now. And our concept of community, our concept of how we are allowing the children to be educated, all of that has to change. It's a time for change, Dave.
I would agree with you. I would agree with you with that. But I want to add one caveat, as we only got about a minute to go here before we got to hit our break. In regards to the breadwinner of the family, albeit man, woman, there's a lot of stress that goes on, especially the one who's bringing in the money and the one who isn't contributing. There's guilt. There's a lot of stress. Maybe that's something that we take up on the other side of the break here, Geraldine, because I think that's an important topic as well, when you get to it, because you can't concentrate on yourself if you are thinking negatively or you're thinking you are a failure. And there's a lot of people out there doing that right now. So, Geraldine, I'm going to get you to hold on here for a couple of minutes because we are going to continue this chat right after. Geraldine Orozco is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Her website, BayAreaMeditation.com. Geraldine is here the first Tuesday every month with The Spiritual You. More with Geraldine coming up.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio Live with Dave Scott on the Deep Talk Radio Network.
Are you tired of being blocked, shadow banned, or placed in jail for simply posting your thoughts on social media? Social Media Freedom can take care of that for you. Social Media Freedom is the newest and one of the best free new apps that allows you the freedom to post what you want, when you want. It takes seconds to download from your app store. Come join the tribe at Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know little brother is watching.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
Hi there, this is Geraldine Orozco from San Francisco's Bay Area Meditation. I invite you to join me the first Tuesday of every month with Dave Scott for Spaced Out Radio's The Spiritual You. In this fast-paced world we live in, it's time for you to take some time for you. We'll cover every possible subject, from powerful meditation to healing techniques to your own intuition and spirituality. So come join us for The Spiritual You.
A timepiece is a reflection of who you are, and what better way to show off the real you than with an Escape watch? Escape is a lifestyle brand accessorizing your days and nights. Choose to escape and create the life of discovery that you deserve. Dream, play, unite with your own personalized Escape watch. Head to escapewatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
Did you know Spaced Out Radio runs 7 days a week? Hi there, this is Tessa Nicole Thomas, and I'm here to take you on a paranormal journey each Saturday and Sunday night. Why change the station when you have it all right here? Together, we'll hang out and share some strange and scary stories. And don't forget, we have Psychic Sundays as well, so come tune in Spaced Out Weekend. We get going at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, only at spacedoutradio.com, where we own the night.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
We're bringing scientific thought to the paranormal. Hi there, this is Spaced Out Radio scientist Chris Cogswell. Join me, Chris Zuger, and Dave Scott the second Wednesday of every month, where we break down the who from the woo when it comes to everything paranormal. We'll investigate and try to bring sensible answers to those straight and sometimes outlandish questions people have. Hey, not everything has an answer, but we'll do our best. Listen in to Reality Paranormal only on Spaced Out Radio.
Coming soon to our website, spacedoutradio.com, is the SOR Space Travelers Club. For just $5 a month, you can get into a private area on our site where you can hang with other listeners in our chat room, post in our forum, and check out a bunch of exclusive content and store that won't be found anywhere else, including a nightly after-show party with Dave. It's going to be the best $5 a month you're going to spend. The SOR Space Travelers, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Hi, George Norrie here. Are you ready for UFO MegaCon, the immersion event? 7 days, 8 nights, 50 new speakers, UFO military witnesses, experiencer groups, skywatches, and so much more. Join me at UFO MegaCon, March 24th through the 30th in Laughlin, Nevada. Truly the one and only new information conference of the year. Now check it out at UFOMegaCon.com. That's UFOMegaCon.com.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
Welcome back to the second half hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott. Good to have you with us. Broadcasting from the Captain's Chair of SOR headquarters. And we got Geraldine Orozco on the show. She comes in the first Tuesday of every month discussing the spiritual you. And her website is bayareameditation.com if you want to check it out. And Geraldine, welcome back to the show.
Hey, Dave.
Now, right before the break, we were talking about the stress that a lot of families go through and how we can get back to that thinking of oneself in between everything, because that is important. And I had asked you a question in regards to, the breadwinner versus the person who may be sitting at home, maybe unemployed or something along those lines, who is just struggling to keep that confidence afloat, thinking, I'm no good at anything. I'm not going to find a job. I'm not contributing to the family. And it provides a lot of stress. All of a sudden, the 1-800 numbers start calling saying, hey, where's my money? There's a lot of stress that goes on people, Geraldine, in regards to this. How do you combat the stress of maybe being one who isn't contributing comparatively to one who is maybe over contributing?
Well, that's a really complex question, and it's very important. It's a very real situation that we all kind of go through at some point in our life, in our partnerships. Really what I'd like to focus on is the balance of the exchange that's occurring there, the balance of the giving and receiving. In a marital union or in this, this partnership, whether you're married or dating, whatever it is, there always has to be an energetic balance, one that is the divine feminine and the divine masculine. And each one of these participants that are contributing to the balance of the union, they all have to carry their weight in a balanced way. And the carrying of that weight can look like many different things. But more importantly, it's that what the divine feminine is providing and what the masculine is providing is going to be what's going to help the couple get through any kind of trial and tribulation, whether it's financial, whether it's emotional. That's really, really important. And what it comes down to is how we manage that giving and receiving in a family setting. Now, in order for each one of those roles to be played out in a balanced perspective, each one has to take responsibility for their own selves. And that really comes down to the ability for their own ability to connect with themselves, to provide for themselves emotionally, physically, on every level. And that comes down to self-love, of course. So each partner here must love themselves enough to first have balance within themselves in order to be a contributor to the total union of this relationship. That's really important, and it's something that I wish that we would learn in high school before we start our life, or even in college when we are coming into this family union. And I think it's what's missing in a lot of our society now, is understanding how to balance that giving and receiving in the family so that we don't end up overextending ourselves or feeling resentful for the partner that's not providing and whatnot. All of these roles of the partnership in a union, and I'm not talking about sex here. I'm not talking about men and women. I'm talking about energy. So whether it's in a gay couple or in a straight couple, that balance of giving and receiving has to be the same for both roles that are being played. So, if we're going through this stress of survival, of having to pay the bills, and we have somebody that's at home that's unemployed, but they're carrying their weight by, washing the dishes, keeping the house clean, or, in any way that they're contributing by having a home business or even taking care of the children, all of these things have to be something that have to be communicated and agreed upon in family nucleus. And each one of these participants of a family has to have the ability and the consciousness to take time for themselves in these roles. So the breadwinner or the provider of the financial stability has to be able and have the responsibility and consciousness to take time to rest, to enhance their life, to meditate, to heal the body. That integration, we need to come into a state of consciousness where we're aware that the integration of the mind and body and soul, all of those three parts have to be something that all of us are aware of. And we have to help our children in becoming aware of that. So when they start their families, they're very aware of how to maintain that balance in their family nucleus. So I think, to answer the question, I'd like to suggest that we come into a new way of looking at these things. We don't want to come and continue the patterns that our fathers and their father's father and so on down our ancestral lineage have done continuously, which is live a life of survival mode. We have to pull away from that. Number one, by accepting what we've chosen for our life path. So if we've chosen to be living this life, going to this job, or if we are living in this life where we are having to struggle to make money, we have to change our perception of struggle. We have to change our perception of how we are managing our money and our society and how we are correlating with our partnerships. We are the ones that have to come out of that victim role, that we feel that we are striving and surviving. We have to get out of that mentality and take ownership and responsibility for the things that we have. And more importantly, accept where we are so that we can find new ways to move forward as a unity instead of come into a state of stress and then the whole family falls apart. So, there's many layers to this, but it's important to be aware of what we are responsible. And as the breadwinner or as the person staying home, with the house, we both have to take responsibilities for what our role is, and more importantly, for our happiness, for our joy. None of that should depend on anyone else but ourselves 100% of the time.
Well, February is the month of love. It's the month of Eros, or the month of Cupid, the month of St. Valentine on the 14th. And this is a time where a lot of people feel the pressure of those relationships, feel the pressure of being alone, feeling the pressure that they are not giving enough to their spouse or loved one. Where do we find it inside ourselves to just be us instead of trying to be something that we're not? Because we all know that 2 weeks ago, roses were about $29 a dozen, and now they're $150.
Yes, well, Dave, I'm kind of in a state of being now where I kind of pull away from any of these kinds of holidays that are based on consumerism or, as we try to glorify any of these holidays, really, which are, to me, I've realized quite unnecessary and that cause a lot of stress and anxiety in our relationships. I mean, everything from Christmas to Halloween to even Thanksgiving and Valentine's Day. I feel like the more I look at my family union and my society, I feel like it causes sometimes more stress than the unity and love that it should. So I really try to stay away from the concept of having to deliver on any of these kinds of holidays for any purpose outside of your own internal peace and happiness. So, we are in the month of love, absolutely. And it's a wonderful time to remind us how we're coming into an opening of something even higher. And I'd love this to be an invitation to everyone that in this month where the theme is love, to focus on how to come into a much deeper, more integrated state of unity with yourself, a more deeper and integrated state of feeling unconditional love for yourself, because without being distracted by the external illusion of love or the fantasy of love, which is very different than actually feeling love, we hopefully can try to come into a new way of looking at ourselves and the people that we are relating with. And there's a couple things. I mean, unconditional love means that we are non-judgmental towards ourselves and those around us, and we are seeing beyond the limitations. And as we look at the entire whole picture of who this person is, we are able to accept them without judgment for everything that they are and everything that they aren't. And that kind of sense of observation, coming from a state of observation, is really something that has to begin with ourselves. So this month, I would really love to invite you to practice coming into a state of unconditional love for yourself, where we are more observant of our current and constant state of emotions, constant state of feelings. And as we do, we kind of monitor what are the patterns that we're emotionally always coming into, because we're going to find that if we kind of go into this review of our past 7 days and even our past month, we start to see that there are some patterns that we're kind of reliving over and over again. And they're either triggered by our family members that we're with, or our partners, or maybe our work situation that always keeps us, for example, as you mentioned earlier, in a state of survival or always trying to pay the bills. These patterns, the way that we feel towards something is 100% our choice. So the sooner we realize that, then we can start deciding how to change that, how to maybe react to these things that we already know are happening in our lives in a new way, in a more expansive way, and really a very honest and out of denial perspective. Because what causes the majority of our pain and suffering in our life is our inability to accept what is happening. That's what causes the major amount of turmoil in ourselves and in our relationship with others. So one of the things that I'd love to suggest for this month as we come into a state of love is to notice where we are in resistance to everything that is happening around us, and maybe not continue to live life as if things are happening to us, but instead we are 100% in charge with how we are feeling towards those things that are happening. So that's really all we can control. All we can control is how we feel about things and our emotions and reactions to them. So coming into a state of love means that you are taking full responsibility for yourself and how you interrelate with things around you. And that's the one thing. The second thing would be coming into a state of letting go, and once you accept being able... Yeah, Dave, go ahead.
No, I was just listening. I just happened to say right.
Oh,
you go
yeah,
ahead.
totally.
That was
totally.
my bad. My bad. Bad host.
No, not at not at all. But the second thing I would say would be to come into a state of letting go of everything that has held you back, that has hindered you from your ability to love. And that means yourself and others. And that when we look at that, the primary root of that usually has to do with forgiving, either forgiving yourself or forgiving others. So look at where you're finding yourself with a resistance to let go and forgive yourself, things that you have done in your past that have caused you pain, sadness, suffering, guilt, and shame, and let go of things of other people that have done to you that have caused you resentment, anger, fear, anxiety, or made you feel unsafe. So it's really important to look at these little aspects, little details that are really prominent and really important. And ultimately, what we find is that in all our interrelations with everyone, with everything that is happening in our life, the number one factor that will change your paradigm is learning to love yourself. Because when we find the time, when we love ourselves, we begin to find the time to do the things that nourish our three aspects of ourselves, which are so important. Your higher self, your spiritual self, your physical body, and the multidimensional body. That means every other aspect of yourself, physical and external, that is constantly in your everyday life. So becoming fully aware of you as an organism, as a living organism that deserves attention, that deserves clear communication of your needs and desires and dreams, and just starting to piece together the puzzle of your life. And it starts every morning as you wake up, by getting up, connecting with yourself, seeing what you need in order to thrive today. So I'd really love to, focus and take the time to remind that self-love is really what's going to help us get further in our role. So that's one thing that I would really say.
The commercialization of something like Valentine's Day puts an immense amount of pressure on people who are single and people who are seeking that love. It makes them feel, or some people feel, unfulfilled because they are alone. How do you get into people's heads, or how can people look inside themselves to say, look, just because you may be single doesn't mean that you're missing out on Valentine's Day, or that your soulmate isn't out there. They're just not there right now.
Yes, and I think that, this whole aspect of relationships is always such a sticky subject. It's always very hard and sometimes painful to look at. We are creatures of habit, in a sense, where, we have been very deeply programmed since childhood to, and anatomically, of course, to feel that we need to have this partnership in our life. And yes, that is true that we do have the opportunity and the ability to do so. But what's happening in our society right now? We have a divorce rate that's higher than ever. We have families falling apart. We have our children that are fatherless, motherless, and all kinds of chaos that is happening in our world around us. And I think it's time for us to take a step back from the fantasy of relationship to look at the reality of what's happening around us. And also, from a personal level, we tend to cycle through relationship patterns over and over again. And those things happen when we are not conscious and aware of the cyclical trauma and patterns that we are cycling through our ancestral lineage. You see, what our belief systems are right now about partnership and relationship are things that normally we take on from our childhood, from our surroundings, from our upbringing, and from our society. So we need to question that. We need to look at that and see what of those are actually real. For the past, pretty much since I was 18 years old, my reality was that I had to find a loving husband and a partnership to complete me. And that was something that was imparted to me by my lineage, my grandmother, her grandmother, that wanted to have this idealism of this marriage. And all of that was brought in by the church in my family. I was raised Catholic. We come from a Catholic background. And so the concept was that in order for me to be a complete woman, I would find that divine unity in my partner. So that caused a lot of conflict for me in my upbringing, because I would focus all of my energy and time, and even my concept of my career life revolved around the concept of building that ideal image of the perfect wife for someone someday. So we really have to question. And when I had my paradigm shift, I realized that, that's not really what I believe in. That's not really what I think. So all of those ideals and all of those things that were now, a part of me fell apart. And what I realized that what I wanted wasn't at all what my society and my family had defined for me as perfect partnership. So when we're looking for partners, take the time to really question what part of you wants a partner. Is it really you that's looking for that partnership? Yes. Okay. What part of you requires a partnership? What part of you feels incomplete, if at all, and looking for that other half of you? Partnership is not one half and another half. That concept is an old concept that, we no longer should continue living through because it causes a lot of confusion and pain. What we are is one whole trying to find another whole. And through those two wholes, we have become a mirror of each other. And when we find the integration of ourselves in another, that's when a relationship becomes expansive. It becomes loving, balanced. And we're not having codependent relationships where one person is holding on to the majority of the relationship and the other one is, leaking their energy towards the other. So there's a lot of things that we need to consider when we talk about relationships. And I want to really focus on all of these things because our social media and the entertainment industry has made love such a tremendous business, love and sex such a business, that we are confused in the reality of what a partnership should look like, what it should be. So it's none of the movies that I have ever seen in my life have ever depicted a proper interaction in a relationship. If you really look at them, there's always some kind of codependency. There's always some kind of imbalance. So we need to redefine relationships. We need to redefine what it means to be loved. And all of that you can define by looking within yourself and understanding what your needs are, who needs what needs to be loved. Yeah, and to love yourself.
Geraldine, I'm going to get you to hold on right there. Geraldine Orozco comes in the first Tuesday of every month with the Spiritual You. What's your highest frequency? We're going to find out coming on up on Spaced Out Radio. Looking for the stories of the strange and weird that you will find hard to find anywhere else? Check out the SOR Newswire on our website. Our writers, led by Captain Shirk, are scouring the world for the oddest and most bizarre stories we can find. Everything from weird crime to suspenseful and paranormal. We're working hard for you to bring you the most intriguing news of your day. Check out the SOR Newswire at spacedoutradio.com today.
Every night on Spaced Out Radio, we have places for you to hang out. Hi, this is Carl. Join our SOR Space Travelers group on Facebook for live chat. On Twitter, using hashtag Spaced Out Radio, you can also join us in our Spreaker chat room. Check us out on Instagram at Dave Scott SOR. All of our archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. By the way, I'll be watching you at your window until you do. Bye!
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio Live with Dave Scott on the Deep Talk Radio Network.
You know, it's hard being the bad man of ufology, but that's just the way that I like it. This is Chris George Zuger, and I'll be hanging out with Dave Scott and SOR scientist Chris Cogswell for Reality Paranormal, the second Wednesday of every month. And our job is to break it down and come to conclusions as to what is really going on in the supernatural world. I'd love for you to join us right here on Spaced Out Radio.
The freedom to post what you want, when you want. That's the social media freedom you need. Social Media Freedom is the free app in your app store. No need to worry about going to jail or being shadow banned any longer. It's the freedom to say what you feel. The freedom to know Big Brother isn't watching. It's the way social media is supposed to be. Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free. Download from your app store today.
Find your escape where time has no limits. It's about living today and cherishing the heritage of yesterday. A spirit of adventure for what is new, with the nostalgia of the past. Your timepiece is a reflection of who you are. Life surrounded by beauty from the world around us to the soul within. escapewatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
Hi, George Norrie here. Are you ready for UFO MegaCon, the immersion event? 7 days, 8 nights, 50 new speakers, UFO military witnesses, experiencer groups, skywatches, and so much more. Join me at UFO MegaCon, March 24th through the 30th in Laughlin, Nevada. Truly the one and only new information conference of the year. Now check it out at UFOMegaCon.com. That's UFOMegaCon.com.
Get your horns up with me on Spaced Out Radio. This is Ron Bumblefoot Thal. Come tune in to SOR where you can hear me rock out with Little Brother Is Watching, the official theme song of Spaced Out Radio. And then come on over to bumblefoot.com where you can find out about my tour schedule, my music, and everything else. Bumblefoot.com keeps you up to date on what I'm doing and the best way to stay in touch with my music and music camps. Sign up for my newsletter at bumblefoot.com and remember, Little Brother Is Watching.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
On the first Tuesday of every month, I encourage you to come along for a journey with me, Geraldine Orozco, on The Spiritual You. Together, we will take a look at how to access the highest expression of yourself and change your life. Consciousness, ET contact, health, and wellness, we can talk about it all. So come along for a spiritual ride with me, Geraldine Orozco, on The Spiritual You, only on Spaced Out Radio.
The Call of the Wild is in Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is one of the hottest bars and restaurants in the city. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose will rock you like a hurricane all night long. Great food with everything on the menu at $6.95 near the corner of Nelson and Granville. Get your horns up and come rock with us. The Moose Vancouver, the official rocking bar of Spaced Out Radio.
We are getting ready to relaunch the SOR Space Travelers Club at spacedoutradio.com. For $5 a month, you can join us for a plethora of features found nowhere else. Hang out in a private chat room during the show and after party. You can check out some exclusive content and a store specifically for you, as well as a private listener forum where you can post your thoughts, stories, and pictures. The SOR Space Travelers Club, coming soon to spacedoutradio.com.
Hey, this is Canadian Paranormal Investigator Mike Moore. The third Wednesday of every month, I'll be teaming up with Dave Scott to bring you Ghosts of the Great White North. Each month, we will bring on guests from across Canada to discuss their ghostly encounters. Canada's a paranormal hotbed with stories you've never heard, so we're going to bring them to you. So get comfy on your Chesterfield, grab a donut, and join us, eh?
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Welcome back to the second hour of Spaced Out Radio. Tonight, I am your host, Dave Scott. Thank you so much for being with us. Tomorrow night on the show, author and paranormal investigator Becky Vickers joins us to discuss her new book about the Goatman Bridge. We get going at 9:06 Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern at spacedoutradio.com. We would like to invite everyone to listen in on our terrestrial affiliates, WQEE 99.1 FM, KZFX 93.7 in Ridgecrest, California, in the high desert of California, Revolution Radio and Deep Talk Radio digitally, and don't forget, you can also check out our archives at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor and hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Catoptromancy. Catoptromancy is your password. Make sure you use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on the mighty SOR. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you. You can rock out to Bumblefoot. Go shopping right now at our Spaced Out Radio store because you would look very good in one of our Spaced Out Radio t-shirts, hats, hoodies, and a lot more. How about the socks? The socks will keep you warm. And, of course, you can read up on our news. Captain Shirk has it all put together as our news director fills up the SOR Newswire and so much more. The first Tuesday of every month, we have Geraldine Orozco on from Bay Area Meditation. Her website is bayareameditation.com out of San Francisco, California. She comes in with The Spiritual You. And Geraldine, welcome back to the show.
Hey.
We're going to get into maintaining the highest frequency of love. I feel like we should be playing Barry White in the background as we say that, as we deepen our voices for love. Anyhow, when you say the highest frequency that we can be, what does that exactly mean?
So the highest frequency of anything is going to be a wavelength that is moving at a much higher frequency. It's moving faster. So we're talking about energy and we're talking about frequencies. And frequencies are vibrational information. So when we have the frequency of anything, like, for example, our different emotions have different frequencies. But, of course, our human body is a much more complex combination of many different emotions, feelings, expressions, and even more our history, our lineage, which is ancestral, and our essence, which is our soul, which is embodied in the physical body. So your body, which has an electromagnetic field, which is radiating around you, is made up of all of this information that you are carrying with you day in and day out, 24 hours a day. So what you are feeling as a primary emotion every moment of your day can change your frequency depending on your state of being. So when I talk about frequency, it's also made up of all of that information that you're carrying around with you. So if you have a lot of a traumatic past, a lot of heaviness, if you haven't worked through a lot of pain in your life, you're holding on to a lot of that information in your physical body, really in the muscles, the information and emotional information that you're holding on to and suppressing, and on a cellular level, information that has now stored within the cellular level of the body. All of this makes up your entire frequency as a whole. So when you're out and you're interrelating with other people, you become not only a sponge to your environment, but you're also a magnet. It works both ways. This is how the human body works. So this sponge magnet interaction that's occurring energetically with your surroundings is going to be what manifests things in your life for you. And what I mean by that is how things are relating to you, how you relate to things, how you attract things, how you experience your living experience. And your emotions are going to be what are dictating how you feel and experience those things as well. So when I talk about coming into the highest expression of yourself, it means that now you as a human have become fully aware of your frequency. You're aware of the information you carry around you. You're aware of how your past is impacting your emotional state, and you're aware that all your perceptions that you're filtering with, throughout your day, now you are in charge of how you are filtering that perception. So the person that comes into their highest expression is usually integrating the higher self, the physical, and the multidimensional. That means that they are aware and they are living their life in congruency with all of the different aspects of themselves. A person that comes into a highest expression is not in resistance. They are in a state of flow. They are open to receiving from a state of, expansion and also integration. So there's many different parts to this, but we can change and we can work with all of this information that we're constantly carrying around. And that's the one thing that makes humans the most powerful biotechnology in this matrix universe. So as a human, if you can shift and change your frequency, you can dictate how you experience life here on this planet. So usually what I have my clients do, for example, is I have them come into this state of reading, which means that they have closed their first 3 chakras, they have opened their upper chakras, because they are disconnecting from the first 3 chakras that are connected to the physical plane. And this allows them to train their body to read and translate higher frequencies of information. So, for example, the state of love, the state of receiving information from a balanced communication and their intuition, all of these different ways that we communicate with our surroundings, we are able to communicate with them through frequency. That's how the body is translating information. So just by changing the color frequency of your energy that you are emitting, you can completely change your experience. You can change how you affect other people, and you can change how other people affect you. So that's kind of like the groundwork to, all of this stuff. This is how we can start getting into this work. Dave.
A lot of people who fall for someone and believe they are on this higher plane with their partner or a potential love interest, believe that there is some sort of higher manifestation with each other or some sort of telepathic communication, whether it's bodily or whether it is in regards to just mentally being able to tell what the other person is saying or finishing each other's sentences. How does that exactly work? And is that a good guide to go on if you have that type of connection with someone?
Yeah, that's beautiful. And I mean, over time, because we are organic, we're basically like organic biotechnology, when we unite ourselves with someone on more level than one, physical, sexual, which is the deepest connection that we can have with any other living being on this planet, we are aligning ourselves with their entire organism. So that's really important for us to become aware of, that when we unite with ourselves with someone sexually, whether that's a sexual exchange or even holding hands or looking at each other, there is a very powerful energy exchange that's occurring there. And that's basically information transferring from one organism to another. So there comes a moment during the time of dating that you are aligning and realigning with each other, almost as if you're calibrating these two instruments together to see if they are in alignment with themselves, in attune with themselves. So over time, couples that are more in alignment with each other on a level of frequency, on more levels than one, then they become almost like one organism because they are both, transferring and sharing information, bouncing information off each other symbiotically. And that's a very beautiful union to be in. Now, in all relationships, there is a certain purpose behind the majority of our relationships. And the majority of the reason why we come in union with someone is because there is something there that we have attracted that we are mirroring to that partnership. So what we'll highlight will be things that we are mirroring each other, and those can be good things and those can be bad things. So sometimes when we have things that we still have to work on, the other person will highlight those things, and that will give us an indication of what we are working in on ourselves. I think that relationships are really one of the most powerful lessons of ascension and integration that there are, because it's through our relationships that we really, really reach the deepest, darkest aspects of ourselves. And if we are in an expansive and it's through this kind of a work and realignment that we open space for these kinds of relationships, like, we finish each other's sentences, and that means that the couple has come into alignment. Now, that's not always a teller sign that this relationship is meant for you for the rest of your life. I mean, there's many other aspects that you need to look at. Like I said, it has to do with what parts of you that person is mirroring, and coming into the realization of what you are complementing each other in can really help you understand the purpose of the karmic reason behind the relationship. We can do a lot of really awesome work by learning how to read their energetic space and working on the contractual agreements that we are uniting in these two people. A lot of relationships and marriages are united. As I mentioned before, I talked about the hybridization program here on this planet, and a lot of our partnerships are actually in some way recognized and created through our network lineages, our DNA. So depending on what our lessons and what our frequency is on a whole lineage, as a whole ancestral lineage, will usually unite us with a lineage that is similar to our frequency. And that's usually why we have so many things in common, or, we resonate on some level within our family lineage, things that have brought us together, that highlight the parts of us that need to be evolved. So it's quite complex, but it's a beautiful journey. And, there's a lot of work to be done, and it's wonderful to be in these relationships that help us open and expand ourselves on the highest level.
Interesting. Interesting regarding that, because for so many people, we put such a value on looks or behavior or athletics or body size. There's a lot of physical traits that we seem to prejudge on a lot of that, rather than trying to find that mental stimulus that really the soul seeks.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I mean, there's been a study about how we are actually attracted to our partner based on our psychological needs, actually, which is interesting because the external part of our body is also information that we're picking up on, and it tells us a lot about ourselves. There's a lot of studies that are done based on the structure of the body, structure of the face, everything from like the distance of your eyes and what makes somebody more attractive than another to a person. But all of that is based on psychology. It's based on resonance. And it really, what it comes down to, again, is these lineages that are kind of competing with each other. So, I mean, it's kind of a deep and complex science, really. But we're also human beings. We're biological beings. So there's a lot of sexuality that we need to look at, and the sexual energy that is attracting these two partners is also really, really important to look at. And a lot of that chemistry also has a lot to do with this kind of vibrational frequency and resonance that we're coming into. So it's just such a beautiful topic. There's a lot to talk about.
All right, let's get to a question here from BTO in the chat room. He's got a couple of them. I'll break them on down. He is asking, isn't the chakra system part of the matrix, since the chakra system is part of the human technological body?
That's such an awesome question. Thank you for asking that. So the way that it works, and I'm sharing this information based on what I can see from the human body, because I can see the multidimensional body. When a soul enters a physical body, it works kind of like a prism, okay? When you shine a light on a prism, the light fragments into a rainbow. It kind of fractalizes into that rainbow. In that same way, let's imagine your soul like a light, like a white light of source that comes, and as it comes into the integration of this physical in a three-dimensional realm, in that same way, that information is fragmented into that rainbow, which is kind of what you have in your body, your chakra system. All of that information is very elegantly organized within the chakra system. The chakra system is what's connected to the physical body, and the way that it functions mirrors the matrix in which we live in, which is very interesting. The first three chakras are the connection to the physical plane, the matrix, everything that's around us, which is why our illusion, our life, the majority of our struggles that we believe we're living in, all of this fragmented reality that's being created around us is functioning based on the stimulation of your first three chakras. The root chakra, which is your safety and also fear, your sacral chakra, which is sexuality and money, creation energy, your third chakra, the center of your body, which is emotions and empowerment. So each one of them has its duality. As in everything, we have duality, okay, in this matrix universe. And so everything in our surrounding life to maintain us connected to this matrix is only functioning and only works with the filtering of our first three chakras, with the stimulation of our first three chakras. When you close those three chakras, those emotional movies that you're watching don't react. You don't have the same physical reaction to them. When you close your first three chakras, you are not emotionally easily manipulated. You're not taken out of balance. You come into this state of neutrality because you have disconnected from this physical 3D matrix. Now, we need to learn how to utilize those properly, but this is a wonderful indication to show you how the human body works. You are a spectrum of information. So we need to learn how to utilize the entire human organism. The ones that we haven't been taught to use is our heart, our throat, and our intuition, which is what this matrix is really working so hard to disable in you, right? They don't want you to think for yourself. They don't want you to use your intuition. They want you to just follow along the rules and all the structures that are being told to us. And our heart, we're told not to feel. We're told not to follow our heart. Communication, we're told when to communicate, how to express ourselves. So we need to start looking at what reality looks like behind the filter. And, this is how we're going to learn how the matrix is built around us. And this is a lot of what I talk about. The matrix, if we understand the human technology, you're going to understand how the entire matrix was built, because it's built based on how you are built. This is how manipulation is created in our reality. So that was an awesome question. Thank you for asking, and I hope this answers it.
Oh, not a problem. Let's continue on with his questions here, because there's a couple more. Why do most fail to realize the reintegration process regarding the chakra system, as in integration or integrating all of the wavelengths, vortices of various lights of the chakra system and reintegrating it back into one's inner organic natural light?
Mm-hmm. not sure I completely understand that question, Dave. So the question is, why do we fail to see that integration is important of the chakras information? Can you maybe reread that?
All right. Yeah. Why do most people then fail to realize the reintegration process regarding the chakra system, as in integrating all of the wavelengths or vortices of various lights of the chakra system and reintegrating it back into one's inner organic natural light, which is the singularity of one's soul rather than the fragmentation of it?
Mm-hmm. Okay, I understand. So basically, what they're asking is, why do we fail to understand that the integration of all of our aspects of ourselves is important to come into that 0 point? And really, what that means is that when I talk about integration, I'm talking about integration on multiple levels. That's something that we fail to understand. Yes, you're right. And I think it's because information, if we look at all of the religions, if we look at all of the spiritual practices, there's little bits and pieces of information, but I think we need to put it all together. We need to understand the bigger picture. And I think the bigger picture is found looking outside at the larger matrix and how it's built based on the technology of the body. So when we integrate all aspects of duality first within each chakra, which is a wonderful place to start because each one of the chakras is how we perceive reality. So if our perception of reality is split in two, for example, let's take the example of shame and guilt. If we feel that doing something for ourselves is selfish, then there is a split in our personality, and we cannot integrate in our everyday life because we're thinking that all of us has to be giving to other people instead of giving to ourselves. So that's how we create the split in our personalities. So that's an example of how we do not have integration in a certain aspect of ourselves. Now, that particular example of having guilt, of loving the self, is found in the heart chakra and in the sacral chakra. Why? The sacral chakra is the center for giving and receiving, and the heart chakra is the center for love and unconditional connection to everything. So, for example, just that one simple example can show you how complex these concepts are. These concepts are connected to the way that you act, feel, and present yourself in your everyday life. And when we talk about integration of all of these idealisms and aspects of ourselves, we're talking about some heavy work. We're talking about some self-discovery here that we need to do. We need to understand where we have all of these fragmentations in our perception of reality within ourselves and within our perception to the external world. Integration, when we're working on that level, will happen on more levels than one. Then, when we understand how to perceive things from a more complete way, we integrate those aspects. We come into a larger integration. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Geraldine, I'm going to get you to hold on right there, okay? We're going to come back right after this. Geraldine Orozco, The Spiritual You, continues on Spaced Out Radio.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio Live with Dave Scott on the Deep Talk Radio Network.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
Hi there, this is Geraldine Orozco from San Francisco's Bay Area Meditation. I invite you to join me the first Tuesday of every month with Dave Scott for Spaced Out Radio's The Spiritual You. In this fast-paced world we live in, it's time for you to take some time for you. We'll cover every possible subject from powerful meditation to healing techniques to your own intuition and spirituality. So come join us for The Spiritual You.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Did you know Spaced Out Radio runs 7 days a week? Hi there, this is Tessa Nicole Thomas, and I'm here to take you on a paranormal journey each Saturday and Sunday night. Why change the station when you have it all right here? Together, we'll hang out and share some strange and scary stories. And don't forget, we have Psychic Sundays as well, so come tune in Spaced Out Weekend. We get going at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, only at spacedoutradio.com, where we own the night.
A timepiece is a reflection of who you are, and what better way to show off the real you than with an Escape watch? Escape is a lifestyle brand accessorizing your days and nights. Choose to escape and create the life of discovery that you deserve. Dream, play, unite with your own personalized Escape watch. Head to escapewatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
Hi, George Norrie here. Are you ready for UFO MegaCon, the immersion event? 7 days, 8 nights, 50 new speakers, UFO military witnesses, experiencer groups, skywatches, and so much more. Join me at UFO MegaCon, March 24th through the 30th in Laughlin, Nevada. Truly the one and only new information conference of the year. Now check it out at UFOMegaCon.com. That's UFOMegaCon.com.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
We're bringing scientific thought to the paranormal. Hi there, this is Spaced Out Radio scientist Chris Cogswell. Join me, Chris Zuger, and Dave Scott the second Wednesday of every month, where we break down the who from the woo when it comes to everything paranormal. We'll investigate and try to bring sensible answers to those straight and sometimes outlandish questions people have. Hey, not everything has an answer, but we'll do our best. Listen in to Reality Paranormal only on Spaced Out Radio.
Coming soon to our website, spacedoutradio.com, is the SOR Space Travelers Club. For just $5 a month, you can get into a private area on our site where you can hang with other listeners in our chat room, post in our forum, and check out a bunch of exclusive content and store that won't be found anywhere else, including a nightly after-show party with Dave. It's going to be the best $5 a month you're going to spend. The SOR Space Travelers, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Are you tired of being blocked, shadow banned, or placed in jail for simply posting your thoughts on social media? Social Media Freedom can take care of that for you. Social Media Freedom is the newest and one of the best free new apps that allows you the freedom to post what you want, when you want. It takes seconds to download from your app store. Come join the tribe at Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
We've passed the halfway point of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott. Good to have you with us on this Tuesday night. Thank you so much for tuning on in as we broadcast from SOR headquarters up here in the remote tundra of Canada. Yes, that's indeed where we are. Geraldine Orozco is our guest. She comes in the first Tuesday of every month with The Spiritual You. Her website is bayareameditation.com. Geraldine, welcome back to the show.
Hey, Dave.
You work with DNA and changing the patterns of it to make people more healthy, more clean, more spiritually advanced. How does that work?
Absolutely. And really quickly, before we get into this topic, I just want to close the previous topic really quickly. Sure. But I don't think we quite finished that. I just wanted to finish by saying that the integration of the higher self, the physical, and the multidimensional body, the divine trinity, is actually the base pattern of the architecture of this matrix universe. And what that means is that the integration that we're doing here, coming into the light body, is the integration of ourselves on more than one level, on all levels. So the 0 point of creation, which is this unconditional love, this divine unconditional knowledge and unity, consciousness, happens when we integrate beyond this dimension. So, yeah, if you'd like to learn more, you can ask me more about that later. It's a complex question, and really thank you for asking that. So let's talk about DNA and how we reprogram. Sure. That was your question, Dave? Yeah?
Yeah.
So basically, our DNA and our body, our organism, as I mentioned earlier, functions like a sponge. We are constantly one giant receptor that is picking up information from our surroundings. And as we pick up the information from our surroundings, it is then filtered through these filters of our chakra system. And the information that we pick up, and we can pick it up energetically from one of our 7 bodies that surrounds us, and also from our skin, from our 5 senses. Those are all ways that we receive information. All of that information is then stored within the body if it's not processed properly. And then that is manifested oftentimes in the physical body, either in the muscles as stagnant energy, stagnant information. And so what happens when we don't process information properly, we end up with sicknesses, with blockages, with all kinds of things that don't allow us to move through our experiences. So this is really important because what ends up happening is that our DNA is storing this information over time. And if we look at a lifetime, all of the major traumatic situations, the most impactful situations from somebody taking away your lollipop as a child all the way to I don't know, having a miscarriage or losing a loved one in adulthood, all of this experience in life is recorded within our cellular structure. And this information makes up who we are as a whole. We talked about how we have our vibrational signature as a whole. And in that same way, all of these life experiences are a result and are what dictate what our vibrational frequency will be. Now, when we talk about reprogramming, how do we deprogram the matrix from our reality? We are what we believe. We are our perception as filtered through our past, all of our experiences. So if we start to unpack our past, if we start to open up all those past experiences, we start to open up some information about the past, and we look at where we have left ourselves behind, literally. Because every time that we have a traumatic situation in our life, a fractal of ourself, of our soul, is left suspended in that timeline. All of these memories that are in our minds that we have access to are timelines that we store within the processing and filing system in our brain. So our brain has the ability to go back to any one of these files from the past and pick up that information and dive deeper into that information. Now, how can we utilize that for healing is that we open up that information, those files, those impactful moments, and we look at the very root cause of the impactful moment. And that allows us to find some information that connects us to all of the participants of that experience. We will find that, for example, let's give you a simple example of when you were a child and there was an argument happening in your home. So this memory is linking you to your father and your mother during that time. So it's almost as if a fractal of yourself is frozen in that repetitive play of emotions. So the stress, the anxiety, the fear, the feeling of being unsafe that you are constantly living through. That's a pattern that you are storing, and that anytime that you feel that same trigger, like somebody yelling or somebody coming into a stressful situation, you start to go back to that memory. Your filing system will go to that file, and it will replay the emotions that you felt in that moment. So in order to deprogram, you have to go back to that moment, you open up that information, and you replace that experience with what is a higher possibility, an opportunity for healing, a new perspective of experiencing that moment. And that's how you can reprogram, and further, energetically, you can take back your imprint of information that was left in that moment. That's how we do soul reintegration, so that now the body becomes one. The body is now reintegrating those fragments of themselves. So deprogramming from the matrix means that we go back to all of these most impactful moments. What you'll notice is that you are playing through patterns over and over and over in your life. You're playing through the same painful patterns in your workplace, in your relationship with yourself, with your friends, and your family. And there's always one or two main emotions that we most tend to come in and out of, and those are the main life lessons that we need to become aware of. So once we tackle those, we start to find change. We start to have openings. We start to have healings, more expansive, more freedom. We come into this state of healing that is really productive and healthy for the organism. So that's how we begin to deprogram. And at the same time, you are letting go of the programs of pain and suffering which are provided by this very fragmented reality that we are co-creating here. So it's a very heavy work, but it is fantastically life-changing.
Interesting indeed. Let's get to a couple audience questions here, if you don't mind. This may take us back to the previous line of questioning, but I want to get to Andrew on Twitter, who is asking, Geraldine, what do you think of using silence for deeper inner comprehension? Do you practice this concept behind or beyond, within a meditative state or method?
Absolutely. I absolutely love it. It's one of my go-tos when I need to go into a much deeper integration. And I actually practice several times a year silent retreats in which I, will either go to a retreat or I will create my own retreat in my own home of silence where I completely disconnect from all social media, from communication, and I come into a state of silence for more than 24 hours, sometimes up to 7 days. It's the longest time that I have done it. And you will find that there is tremendous amount of power in this. Of course, during that silence time, I do a lot of energy work and purging and healing. But what that allows us to do is to notice what parts of us are constantly expressing and needing stimulation, because we live in a highly stimulated environment, whether at home or outside. We are trained to be constantly reacting and, being in a constant state of stimulation, either emotionally or physically. So coming into a state of silence helps you manage and work with that aspect of yourself that feels that deep need for either expression or communication, and it really helps you focus on what you truly, truly need, and to realize whether your life is actually really providing those things for you and what it is that you are looking for in the stimulation outside of you. So I think it's an amazing practice, and I highly recommend it to anyone that is trying to go deeper into that, into that inner work.
All right, let's continue with Andrew here for a minute on Twitter at #SpacedOutRadio. How do you teach this, or how do you do this in your own life?
Coming into a silence retreat?
Well, the deeper inner comprehension of everything in the meditative method.
Yeah, so for me, in my everyday life, I meditate up to 3 hours a day, and sometimes I will do 2 hours in the morning and 1 hour at night, or, whenever I find the time. For me, what I have found works for me is that meditation is a way of life where I completely hold myself accountable 24 hours a day, or, 24 hours a day, but in waking time to my reactions, my emotions, my feelings, and my expressions. And this goes on into my dream time, which is what I'm focusing the majority of my work on now, which is becoming more and more aware and lucid in my dream time so that I can start to train my body to become conscious in more dimensions than one. That's really what I work on now. So, my day consists of doing healing work from the morning until the evening, and then I hold several other training sessions on or offline. So I have an extremely busy life, and the majority of my work revolves around being in a state of complete awareness and connection to my higher self so that I can assist in seeing beyond the physical for other people. So, I dedicate a lot of time to meditation and doing that work, but it's really a way of life, and that's what I invite you all to try to do as much as possible.
Interesting. Okay. So let's continue with Andrew here. He says, in a love relationship, could it be that women are more innately powerful and have the potential to experience a profound depth in its many qualities, including sexual attraction? If a man admits this, he is considered weak. Is this why women have been held back in our societies?
I think that there is a lot of stigma to what sexual roles should look like. Both sexes are incredibly powerful energetically and in terms of manifestation. The woman holds a tremendous amount of creative life force energy, but the male also holds, because the masculine represents action, movement. So, these two energies, the divine feminine and masculine, are made to complement each other. They are made to be one. We live in a fragmented reality where everything is based on duality. It's based on this separation of these two things. So as we come into a better understanding of our organism as a whole, we have to understand that that integration of duality happens externally and it happens internally. It has to happen. The divine feminine is a creative, it's pure creative life force. The woman is as powerful as the man. There really isn't a separation in the amount of power that each one of these two energies hold. They just hold it in different places. And they're meant to hold it in different places in order to complement each other. And again, I want to make sure that I'm clear that I'm not talking about sexes. I'm talking about energy. I'm talking about the manifestation of feminine energy and the manifestation of male masculine energy. So the female energy has been suppressed in our creation as a whole because this matrix organism is manufactured or created or a result of the rejection of consciousness. And when consciousness rejects itself, there will always be greater aspects of itself that become out of balance. So that's why we live in a dimension where we have fragmentation and separation of belief. And the law of this integration is the law of three, right? We have the divine feminine, the masculine, and the product of that unity. So we are living, everything in this reality is created from that basic law. That all our architecture of this reality is built from that perception. So it's not that one is more than other. Because we have come into a major masculine energy, which is movement, which is development, which is, we've come in and out of energies for centuries and centuries on end since the beginning of time. This is a cyclical movement through imbalance, which is a natural architecture of this matrix. What we're being called to do now is coming more into the divine feminine with the hope that we ultimately will have a higher integration of both. That's what we are striving for now in our society, the integration of both. And we're still learning what that looks like. It's a very new concept for all mankind right now. We really are just learning our own roles here. We are learning the dualities within ourselves. We are discovering what they mean, how they play out, and we're discovering what that looks like in society. So the more we learn about our own integration, the more we can express that and become that unity, that integration as a whole for others. And we create society based on that perception. That is the hope for now and the future, I think.
All right, we got time for one more question here. We'll go back to BTO, who is asking, let me just find it here. Here it is. Getting back to the chakra system, he says, isn't it more than just the chakra system? We enter this universe whole and fragment into all that is within its universe? Therefore, isn't it more important to reintegrate all aspects of oneself from a multidimensional perspective? Those aspects of oneself that are galaxies, solar systems, planets, all life forms, including beings, gods, and goddesses.
Mm-hmm. So, yes, we are fragmented on more levels than the chakra system, and I'm glad you brought that up because, as I mentioned, this is a very complex topic. There are many levels to this that we're yet understanding, and the chakra system is just the human structure, the human mirroring of a much larger organism. The human organism extends out interdimensionally into many other dimensions. So when we talk about, I was talking earlier about reincorporating the fragments of our soul, those are all fragments that are dispersed within multiple dimensions. As you know, time is not linear. So our lifespan and even our past life experiences are all part of here and now, and we are moving in and out of those dimensions simultaneously. So when we're talking about integration and we heal one thing within us, we are open. We have the opportunity of healing all aspects of ourselves in alignment with this one thing on multiple dimensions. But it takes a certain level of awareness and consciousness to be able to do that. You have to become aware of where you are fragmented on more dimension than one. And there's people that help facilitate that, like myself, but you can do that on yourself by looking at the patterns in your ancestral lineage and even beyond to understand why you are a culmination of all this information here and now. Now, further, even our hybrid children, for example, are fragments. They are sustaining fragments of information that belong to us. So even those aspects of ourselves must be reintegrated on some level. What we look like is like spider webs. We are at the very center of a very complex, beautiful spider web that is connected to multiple dimensions, multiple levels of ourselves. Our chakra systems are merely the tip of the iceberg, which is mirroring what is real in this holographic three-dimensional matrix. That's all. However, that being said, it is where we find the massive amounts of information to help you unlock yourself from multiple dimensions. And this work has to be done in waking time and also in dream time, because in dream time, we are living other lives. We are outside of our physical body, living in astral self, in energetic body, and we are visiting other aspects of our reality. Okay, so, it is very complex. There's many aspects to this, but the integration has to happen on all levels, not just one.
Very powerful indeed. We're going to have Geraldine here for another 30 minutes on Spaced Out Radio, because that's what we do around here. And Geraldine, we have so much fun with you each and every time you are on The Spiritual You. I enjoy it. I enjoy it.
I love it. Thank you, Dave.
I got to admit, some of this conversation is way over Dave's head. Way over Dave's head. But I think I'm learning, and that's why we do this. It's not just about it's just not about finding my zen and my chi in the forest. This is what I'm learning. I don't know what to do now. I don't know what to do. But nonetheless, Geraldine Orozco joins us. Oh, you make me laugh. Joins us the first Tuesday of every month. Her next appearance on the show will be Tuesday, March 5th. We got Geraldine for another 30 minutes here on Spaced Out Radio. The Spiritual You continues on the mighty SOR.
Come hang out with Spaced Out Radio, where we own the night. This is Carl. You can follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, and during the show, use the hashtag Spaced Out Radio to chat with us live. On Instagram, at Dave Scott SOR. On Facebook, give our page a like, Spaced Out Radio Show. SOR archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. Come join us, or I will come join you. See you at your window.
At spacedoutradio.com, we have a little bit of everything for you to stay up late. So while you're there, check out our SOR Newswire, where our team brings you stories of the weird and strange to the WTF from around the globe. News on Bigfoot, UFOs, paranormal, Darwinian-type crime tales. It's the stories that the mainstream media usually won't touch. Well, we got them all on the SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio Live with Dave Scott on the Deep Talk Radio Network.
On the first Tuesday of every month, I encourage you to come along for a journey with me, Geraldine Orozco, on The Spiritual You. Together, we will take a look at how to access the highest expression of yourself and change your life. Consciousness, ET contact, health, and wellness, we can talk about it all. So come along for a spiritual ride with me, Geraldine Orozco, on The Spiritual You, only on Spaced Out Radio.
The freedom to post what you want, when you want. That's the social media freedom you need. Social Media Freedom is the free app in your app store. No need to worry about going to jail or being shadow banned any longer. It's the freedom to say what you feel. The freedom to know Big Brother isn't watching. It's the way social media is supposed to be. Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free. Download from your app store today.
You know, it's hard being the bad man of ufology, but that's just the way that I like it. This is Chris George Zuger, and I'll be hanging out with Dave Scott and SOR scientist Chris Cogswell for Reality Paranormal, the second Wednesday of every month. And our job is to break it down and come to conclusions as to what is really going on in the supernatural world. I'd love for you to join us right here on Spaced Out Radio.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Get your horns up with me on Spaced Out Radio. This is Ron Bumblefoot Thal. Come tune in to SOR where you can hear me rock out with Little Brother Is Watching, the official theme song of Spaced Out Radio. And then come on over to bumblefoot.com where you can find out about my tour schedule, my music, and everything else. Bumblefoot.com keeps you up to date on what I'm doing and the best way to stay in touch with my music and music camps. Sign up for my newsletter at bumblefoot.com and remember, Little Brother Is Watching.
The Call of the Wild is in Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is one of the hottest bars and restaurants in the city. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose will rock you like a hurricane all night long. Great food with everything on the menu at $6.95 near the corner of Nelson and Granville. Get your horns up and come rock with us. The Moose Vancouver, the official rocking bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
We are getting ready to relaunch the SOR Space Travelers Club at spacedoutradio.com. For $5 a month, you can join us for a plethora of features found nowhere else. Hang out in a private chat room during the show and after party. You can check out some exclusive content and a store specifically for you, as well as a private listener forum where you can post your thoughts, stories, and pictures. The SOR Space Travelers Club, coming soon to spacedoutradio.com.
Find your escape where time has no limits. It's about living today and cherishing the heritage of yesterday. A spirit of adventure for what is new with the nostalgia of the past. Your timepiece is a reflection of who you are. Life surrounded by beauty from the world around us to the soul within. EscapeWatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
Hi, George Norrie here. Are you ready for UFO MegaCon, the immersion event? 7 days, 8 nights, 50 new speakers, UFO military witnesses, experiencer groups, skywatches, and so much more. Join me at UFO MegaCon, March 24th through the 30th in Laughlin, Nevada. Truly the one and only new information conference of the year. Now check it out at UFOMegaCon.com. That's UFOMegaCon.com.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
Hey, this is Canadian Paranormal Investigator Mike Moore. The third Wednesday of every month, I'll be teaming up with Dave Scott to bring you Ghosts of the Great White North. Each month, we will bring on guests from across Canada to discuss their ghostly encounters. Canada is a paranormal hotbed with stories you've never heard, so we're going to bring them to you. So get comfy on your Chesterfield, grab a donut, and join us, eh?
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Welcome back to the third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio. Tonight, I am your host, Dave Scott. Great to have you with us. Tomorrow night on the show, author and paranormal investigator Becky Vickers joins us to talk about the legend of the Goatman Bridge. We get going at 9:06 Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern at spacedoutradio.com. Hi to each and every one of you listening in on KZFX 93.7 FM in California. Down in Georgia, WQEE 99.1 FM, Revolution Radio and Deep Talk Radio digitally, and so many more. Don't forget, you can also check out our archives at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. They are free for you. Just do me the favor and hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Catoptromancy. Catoptromancy is your password. Make sure you use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night, right here on the mighty SOR. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you. You could rock out to Bumblefoot. You could go shopping at our Spaced Out Radio store, read up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire, and so much more. For the final time tonight, we introduce Geraldine Orozco. She is with Bay Area Meditation. You can find her website at bayareameditation.com. We do the Spiritual You the first Tuesday of every month. Her next appearance will be Tuesday, March 5th. Geraldine, thank you so much for coming back.
Always happy to come back here, Dave. Thank you.
Always a pleasure to have you here, my friend. Always a pleasure. In regards to ET contact, when it comes to DNA, do we know from people who have been abducted or had any sort of contact if there is a DNA restructuring happening?
Mm-hmm. Well, that's a good question, but for that we have to go back to the beginning of all of this. And really, DNA restructuring and alteration is something that has been happening since the beginning of our life that's being seated on this planet. We are a product in general. Our human race is a product, I believe, of human DNA alteration, of genetic alteration. And the reason for that, and the reason why I say that, is based on my personal experience as a hybrid and as a part of the hybridization program, and as well as how I see DNA in other hybrids and their lineages. It shows me that a lot of us are a combination of multiple genetics, not just Earth genes, but also off-Earth, lineages that we are holding on to. And this information is not yet familiar to us because I think our science and our, we're just coming into this understanding of how to decipher, how to read DNA. There are many studies being done around the world in many different universities that are starting to understand how to unpack the massive, massive amounts of information that DNA holds, which we have barely in our science, in our medical field, have even just not even began to, in our biology, began to decipher and understand. So as we look at our DNA and the information that it holds, we're going to find that a lot of us are a combination of many different species off Earth, and that's what makes us candidates for the kind of contact and participation that we are taking place in this current life. For example, people that have participation in the hybridization program, that have been abducted, that have had experiences, some of them have experiences with more species than others, and some of them have with many different species. But this is a very broad topic, and it has to do with how we are understanding what DNA really means. DNA is a record keeper, not just of this lifetime experience, but it is holding on to information of all our experiences. And all that experience is bringing down information from the higher aspect of ourself, our soul, which is even a much larger record keeper of pure consciousness, pure information that we're bringing into. So when people experience contact, for example, as in what happened to me, for example, some part of me was activated, in which I returned with the ability to see the multidimensional body, and I had, heightened psychic abilities. So this is something that I hear a lot with a lot of experiencers around the world that have had ET contact. So that, in a sense, is a good way for us to look at, I guess, a more palpable way of looking at how our DNA can be restructured or altered in some way. Because we are brought into different dimensions, we are somehow activated to receive information on more than one level.
Let's get to a question from BTO here. He is asking, in regards to considering the fact that about 10% DNA are active while the rest lie dormant, do you feel that 90% of human DNA is actually who we are scattered throughout this universe?
Yes. As a short answer, I would say yes. Precisely. The information that we are holding onto here is actually linking us back to all of the record keeping, all of the movements and connections and genetic alterations that we have linked to other planetary, experiences and incarnations. In this matrix universe that we live in, we are going through this reincarnation cyclical pattern where we are being born into different phases of, I guess, the holographic matrix on different dimensions. And each one of our lives are consisting of activity of the human on more than one dimension. We are active in dream time, we're active in different dimensions, we're active in waking time, and all of the expressions of ourselves are linking us energetically to each and every one of those experiences. And in that same way, anytime that we have genetic alteration, like, for example, within the hybridization program, we are also linked in that way. Our information is being spread among the universe, in the matrix universe, within the embodiment of these species that are a product of our genes, right? So, yes, thank you for bringing it up. Mm-hmm.
In regards to the way extraterrestrials treat us, whether it's, as a science experiment or as someone who is treated with some sort of downloadable knowledge that they are given, is there a difference between the communication between the extraterrestrials and us when that happens?
The difference between the communication, yes, I'm not quite sure what that means, but the different communications, for one thing, we're talking about species that are operating on different dimensions, okay? And some of these species have access to multiple dimensions outside of what humans are able to access. And what that means, and not that they're not able, humans are not able to access. We are able to access if we train ourselves to do so. And that's what makes the human such a powerful organism, is its ability to move on multiple dimensions interdimensionally. But in terms of communication, a lot of these species are communicating with us telepathically and through the information that we are bouncing off vibrationally. So even our DNA, even our physical manifestation here in this three-dimensional matrix is a vibrational emanation that is interrelating with other aspects of ourselves. So in other species that connect with us, like greys, like reptilians, like draconians, like other species, they all have many different ways of communicating. But what I believe is through our connection, through the DNA connection, it's also opening and accessing abilities for us to communicate with them. Why? Because and this goes into a little bit of a complex topic, and it has to do with how the evolution of all of these species has occurred throughout the creation of this matrix universe. The origin of a species will define the information and the substance that they are made out of. So, for example, I'm going to put layman's terms. Their DNA, their information that makes up who they are, has a certain vibrational signature. And this vibrational signature is when blended with other species, you are blending these vibrational signatures and at the same time creating a new signature which can move from one signature to another. This is what hybridization means, right? When we blend two genes together, they can adapt themselves and intercommunicate within those two lineages. So in that same way, this is how we are made to be able to tap into the consciousness of those lineages as well. That's why hybrids are being produced for that purpose, that they can move not only interdimensionally, but on more than one level, communicating from different species and races.
So when it comes to different species and races, are they treating us differently? Let's say the Pleiadians compared to the Greys, or the Draconians compared to the Arcturians.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that aliens, we tend to think of aliens as we compartmentalize them. We think, Draconians are one way, reptilians are one way, Arcturians are another way. And even though that's true in some way, just the way we can say the human race, like the human race is one way, we have species here. We have different kind of races on our planet. And just the way we have different races on our planet, these species can be a combination of different genes, which can make them the ability to move interspecies. But the way that they behave is really dependent on their agenda that they're trying to carry out. And there are hundreds, thousands of different agendas, and those agendas can be a combination of a group of different species. They can be reptilian, they can be Pleiadian, they can be different species within those agendas. It's not just tied to one. Now, there is one thing that I can speak from my own experience that I have seen more prominently, which the Draconian race seems to be that of a very controlling power, in which manipulating the majority of the movement of the genetic make in our history. And they are the oldest race in this matrix universe, which has manipulated the genes since the very beginning of conception of multiple species, and I'm talking alien species, not just human species. So, there are certain factors that we tend to see, and all that we know is based on our personal experience, like my personal experience, and the information that we are collecting from other experiences and what other experiencers and what they have seen and felt. But what seems to ring true is that these Draconians are indeed have a very, very specific way of managing their energy in this manifestation. I am not the kind of person that will talk about these draconians in any of these species in a way that is a totalitarian way, because the way that I have seen these things is that they are just a manifestation of consciousness, as in everything in this reality. Whether it's a consciousness that is accepting of itself or rejecting of itself, everything has free will to act within their own parameters. So that's the perspective that I really would like to bring to the table, that kind of moves away from the idea of thinking, oh, draconians are evil and bad. Oh, this is this and that. We need to look at things from a different perspective, because it's going to help us move through the information quicker and from a more truer perspective, I believe.
Does the human body know what is going on? Does it actually understand what is happening when it either is abducted or taken via the soul or physically?
That's an interesting question. The human body, well, because of the technology that is utilized by these species, a lot of aspects of the human body will be disabled. For example, the memory filing system is often temporary, either replaced, or oftentimes it's, tampered with, where it is turning off the connection where the immediate memory will pull from that information unless someone goes into a regression. So, in a sense, the human body is always storing everything that is happening to the human body. Always, 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 always. This is why the human is able to retrieve information through different modalities, like regression, like any kind of deep energy work or shamanic work. So because we are sponges and because we are made to record this information, unless it's actually somehow manipulated or replaced, even then we function like computers. We have a central computing system which is recording every single one of the alterations done to the human body. So that information is accessible if we have the ability to come into that, information. But the human body will always know. Yes, it will always be recorded on one level or another.
How have the extraterrestrials been able to figure out how to block that from our memory when incidents happen, whether they are good or malevolent?
Well, from my perspective and my experience and my research, what I have found is that our matrix universe has originated with 3 primary DNA lineages of species. And that being said, the human race, mankind here as we know it, is a product of that genetic alteration. In other words, we were made from these genetic alterations in history. So the entire matrix that we live in, this holographic illusion, it's built based on how the human body is built. That means that someone or somehow our entire structure of belief and reality has been very carefully created based on multiple systems of belief and reaction to the human body. So that being said, something like erasing a memory in our current reality here, in this 3-dimensional reality, is something that's quite simple for them. We're talking about extremely advanced biotechnology that we are as a product of, beyond centuries, of creation here in this matrix universe. And we are the most advanced biotechnology in this matrix universe because we have the ability to sustain higher levels of consciousness in and out of multiple dimensions. And we know that because the human body has the ability to become aware of itself within this holographic co-creation, this projection. So changing a memory, playing with the memory is something that's quite simple, quite easy. But the human has also the ability to have free will, and that's the law of the universe which cannot be changed. Okay? So the free will that consciousness has, consciousness is always becoming aware of itself. So because of that, the human body has the ability to tap into that information regardless of how they tamper or play or try to manipulate that information. Pure consciousness is storing that information, on levels that are beyond this matrix, in other words. This matrix universe is based on laws of dimensions that can go up to a certain level, but pure consciousness is infinite. It goes beyond that. So humans that are here experiencing abduction, that are going through all of these experiences, have the ability within that line of an understanding of free will to access and re-access all of that information. And that's why we have experiencers. That's why we have the ability to access higher information on these dimensions.
We're going to sneak in one final question here, so we got about 3 minutes left with you, Geraldine, and this comes from BTO. He says, so is there a difference between the matrix universe, which is inside the organic universe, and are most extra or interdimensional beings actually part of the matrix universe instead of the organic?
Okay, that's a great question, but we tend to have a separation. Why do we separate organic from AI or interdimensional? We have to understand that we're talking about frequencies. Everything is a manifestation of energy and frequency. Biological technology, interdimensional manifestations of something, of information, and all of these are frequencies that are moving out of different dimensional timelines. Dimensions only change how that energy is seen, how it's perceived. So, on one dimension, as we move through different dimensions, information will change its shape, its form. It'll change how it's perceived, how it's fragmented. But it is the same information that we must learn to manipulate within those different dimensions. So, really, what we're working with here is an understanding of how to navigate these multiple dimensions with this consciousness. Can you tell me the first part of that question again, Dave, real quick?
Absolutely, I can. Let me just scroll down and get it here. The first part, is there a difference between the matrix universe, which is inside the organic universe, and are most extra or interdimensional beings actually part of the matrix universe instead of the organic?
Yeah, so I just wanted to clarify that part because so basically what this looks like is the matrix universe is one organism which is holding to all of these manifestations of life which can look organic or AI or anything. We're just talking about information. What is different is what is beyond the matrix universe, which is these multiple dimensions of consciousness that have no shape, no form, or really anything that we have ever seen or can conceptualize, right? So all of these manifestations of life forms here are all part of this matrix universe, basically. Yeah.
All right. Geraldine, we got to wrap things up here, and I would love it if you took about 30 to 40 seconds. Let everybody know where they can find your information.
Absolutely. If you want a DNA reprogramming with me, you can reach me at GeraldineOrozco.com. I have a new website out, and you can also sign up for any of my upcoming workshops in Tucson, February 17th. I'll be really happy to meet you there. We are working with some high-frequency healing energy with Vivian Chauvette. And, I'm here to serve. I have my YouTube channel at Geraldine Orozco, on Facebook, Geraldine Orozco, and Bay Area Meditation for corporate meditation here in the San Francisco Bay Area. So I work internationally, and I am here to serve. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Thank you, Geraldine. Olaf Phillips in the SOR Newswire coming up next.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio Live with Dave Scott on the Deep Talk Radio Network.
Did you know Spaced Out Radio runs 7 days a week? Hi there, this is Tessa Nicole Thomas, and I'm here to take you on a paranormal journey each Saturday and Sunday night. Why change the station when you have it all right here? Together, we'll hang out and share some strange and scary stories. And don't forget, we have Psychic Sundays as well, so come tune in Spaced Out Weekend. We get going at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, only at spacedoutradio.com, where we own the night.
A timepiece is a reflection of who you are, and what better way to show off the real you than with an Escape watch? Escape is a lifestyle brand accessorizing your days and nights. Choose to escape and create the life of discovery that you deserve. Dream, play, unite with your own personalized Escape watch. Head to escapewatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Hi there, this is Geraldine Orozco from San Francisco's Bay Area Meditation. I invite you to join me the first Tuesday of every month with Dave Scott for Spaced Out Radio's The Spiritual You. In this fast-paced world we live in, it's time for you to take some time for you. We'll cover every possible subject from powerful meditation to healing techniques to your own intuition and spirituality. So come join us for The Spiritual You.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Hi, George Norrie here. Are you ready for UFO MegaCon, the immersion event? 7 days, 8 nights, 50 new speakers, UFO military witnesses, experiencer groups, skywatches, and so much more. Join me at UFO MegaCon, March 24th through the 30th in Laughlin, Nevada. Truly the one and only new information conference of the year. Now check it out at UFOMegaCon.com. That's UFOMegaCon.com.
Are you tired of being blocked, shadow banned, or placed in jail for simply posting your thoughts on social media? Social Media Freedom can take care of that for you. Social Media Freedom is the newest and one of the best free new apps that allows you the freedom to post what you want, when you want. It takes seconds to download from your app store. Come join the tribe at Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free.
Coming soon to our website, spacedoutradio.com, is the SOR Space Travelers Club. For just $5 a month, you can get into a private area on our site where you can hang with other listeners in our chat room, post in our forum, and check out a bunch of exclusive content and store that won't be found anywhere else, including a nightly after-show party with Dave. It's going to be the best $5 a month you're going to spend. The SOR Space Travelers, only at spacedoutradio.com.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
We're bringing scientific thought to the paranormal. Hi there, this is Spaced Out Radio scientist Chris Cogswell. Join me, Chris Zuger, and Dave Scott the second Wednesday of every month, where we break down the who from the woo when it comes to everything paranormal. We'll investigate and try to bring sensible answers to those straight and sometimes outlandish questions people have. Hey, not everything has an answer, but we'll do our best. Listen in to Reality Paranormal only on Spaced Out Radio.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
We've rounded third. We are heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters in the wild tundra of British Columbia. And it's time for the SOR Newswire, presented by Paranoia Magazine. The news is always changing, which is why we bring you the SOR Newswire at the back end of every show, where we talk about the weird, the wacky, the WTF in the strange news of the day. And bringing you the news is Paranoia Magazine owner and editor, Mr. Olaf Phillips. Are you there, Mr. Phillips?
Greetings and salutations. Sorry for the pregnant pause.
That was a good pregnant pause. How you doing, buddy?
I wanted it. I was going for dramatic effect.
Don't blame you. Don't blame you. You are the fashionably, you are the fashionably late kind of guy who wears a lot of plaid and a quality beard, and that's why we have you here every single night. But
I'm actually
no,
very
we're doing
punctual. I'm punctual.
I know. You are. You are. Well, you know what? Today was a kind of a boring news day in regards to anything extraterrestrial or paranormal. I was looking and scanning around, and I just couldn't find a darn thing today.
Today was rough, Dave. It was rough in the WTF news newswire. It was very rough. It was a rough one. But I got some stuff.
Well, I knew you would come through. So what do you have for us tonight?
What you pay me for. Butcher opens sausage-themed hotel in Germantown. A fourth-generation butcher in Germany is celebrating his favorite food by opening what he calls the world's first sausage hotel. Klaus Bobel, 48, opened the Bobel Bratwurst Bed and Breakfast in Ritzbach near Nuremberg. Nuremberg is very beautiful, by the way. In a converted barn adjacent to his family butcher shop. Bobel said the hotel, which features sausage imagery in nearly every aspect of the decor, has attracted guests from around the world during its first 4 months of operation. I want to bring tourists from all over the world to Rittersbach, my home village, he told CNN Travel. The hotel includes an on-site restaurant with a very narrow focus. I call it the Wursterant because I only serve bratwurst in this restaurant in many different styles, Bobo said.
Mm-hmm.
I serve not steaks with onions. I serve bratwurst with onions. I serve not German schnitzel. I serve bratwurst schnitzel with chili.
That sounds good.
With horseradish or with chocolate or with coffee inside, he said. The proprietor warned his hotel might not be for everyone. Some vegetarians and vegans might find the sausage-themed wall art, pillows, and other decorations disturbing. He said he has yet to hear any complaints from the guests. People who don't enjoy this don't book, Boble said, because they see many pictures on the internet before.
Well, I can tell you right now, if Dave was visiting Germany, this is a place where I would like to stay. I like a good brat. I like some brats and onions, brats and chili. All right. I even like brats with the cheese that are inside of them. If it comes with chocolate, I'm there. I am very there.
I'll try it.
You know?
And Nuremberg is a beautiful town. You can go to the Chris Kringle Mart.
Well,
Christmas festival.
I am very, very excited about this. Very, very excited. So,
I haven't been to Nuremberg since I was a kid.
I think what this means, I think I've never been across the Atlantic. But this is worth a road trip.
Yeah, a road trip wouldn't work out too well for you. Maybe a boat trip or an airplane trip, Dave.
We'll take the airplane. Well, we'll take the airplane, and then we'll like rent a Passat, a Volkswagen Passat,
or a Beamer.
Yeah, true.
You know, over in Europe, they use Mercedes for taxi cabs. In fact, the town I lived in England, they had a Jaguar as a police car.
Nice. Nice. Unlike Dubai, who buys their police cars as Lamborghinis.
Well, we had a Lambo here. It was a highway patrol car. It was kind of a joke, but it was an actual patrol car that was a Lamborghini.
That's insane. Absolutely insane. All right, let's move on to the next one, my friend.
Keeping with the food theme, because I know you are a foodie and a connoisseur of KFC. Restaurant distillery team to create caviar-infused gin. You heard that right. An upscale British restaurant teamed with the distillery to create a house gin infused with an unusual flavor, caviar. The man behind the curtain, a Michelin-starred restaurant in Leeds, England, teamed with distillery Slingsby to create the gin, which shares the restaurant's name. The creator said the gin was distilled with plankton and Exmoor caviar to create a savory, unique, and deliciously bold flavor. The gin is available as an ingredient in specialty cocktails at the eatery, and bottles of the seafood-infused spirit can be bought at the restaurant for $130.
That's just terrible. That's just terrible.
It sounds completely disgusting. I'm not a huge gin guy, but it really sounds gross.
Do you think this is gin trying to get back at tequila for the worm?
Oh, boy. That could be. I mean, the fact that it has plankton in it, I think I would take plankton over the worm, but it still sounds awfully nasty.
I don't get it. I don't get it whatsoever.
Now, Lefroy, if you're listening, I do enjoy my Lefroy. So if Lefroy wants to sponsor this poor paranoid fellow, you know where to find me.
Yes, he will work on Contra. He will work on Contra. Oh.
Yes.
You're eating roe. Think about it. People who eat fish eggs, you're eating roe. You're eating plankton
I eat fish eggs.
that feeds off all the dirt in the ocean.
Well, I like salmon roe and flying fish eggs. So, I'm getting it from flying fish and salmon.
Oh.
But I do eat it.
Oh, I can't stand the smell.
I'm a big sushi guy.
Well, you can have it. You can have it, my friend. Old Davey doesn't eat fish. Old Davy doesn't eat fish.
Not even trout?
No, nothing. No. I am when I go fishing, and I love my fishing. I totally love my fishing, but when I go fishing, I am all catch and release. All catch and release.
I'm catching chow down.
Oh, you go.
I don't.
Go.
I'm kind of picky about my fish. I don't eat catfish. I think catfish are nasty, but river fish, lake fish, I'm down. I'm down with that.
All right, let's move on to the next story, my friend.
Minnesota man keeps freezing his pants off thanks to polar vortex. Although the polar vortex put much of the country in a wet, record-breaking deep freeze, it wasn't all bad news. The plummeting temperatures allowed a Minnesota man and his neighbors to revive the mystifying and somewhat eerie phenomenon known as frozen pants. Tom Groding of Minneapolis began the frozen pants movement in 2013. A polar vortex brought sub-zero temperatures to his neighborhood, and he froze, then posted some jeans. The idea caught on, and several of his neighbors followed his lead. In subsequent years, weather permitting, the frozen pants returned, sparking news coverage across the country. Last month, Groding and his brother John visited Northfield, Minnesota for the opening of St. Olaf's College new hockey arena. Yes, there is a saint named after me. Yes, and many kings.
And a hockey team.
It was. Is there?
Well, in a hockey arena, I mean.
Well, yeah, there's a hockey arena. It was cold as cold gets that morning, and I thought it would be a good opportunity to freeze some pants. Of course, so I brought a couple of pairs of Big Daddies in a bucket. Groding said in an email, "We soaked them up and draped them over the signs in front and went to dinner," he said. "When we came back, the pants were hard as a rock and the game was starting, so we had to get busy. Brother John and his rookie pants freezer, and from San Diego to boot, he jumped right in and pounded on them like he owned them to get the pants to stand up." Yes, frozen pants, and they look like they were being worn. That was the idea.
I've seen pictures of that.
Yes.
It's cold when the ghosts' pants are freezing.
Oh boy.
On the flip side, though, I do have to say this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand the purpose of that. I see the entertainment, but I don't understand the purpose.
What's the purpose? The purpose is entertainment.
Finding a snowman here is darn near impossible.
Why?
Because there's snow everywhere.
But kids don't make snowmen?
Very difficult. Kids have better things to do in the snow here. They go tobogganings, hockey, on the lakes, whatever it may be. There's always something different to do here.
Well, I come from a snow-free land. So, for me and the little paranoia, it's always a big fun to make a snowman. But we don't really get snow here. So.
Well, I can lend you some. That's for sure. And so could the East Coast this year.
Why don't you put some of that into a container and mail it to me? We'll see how that goes.
Because you'll make margaritas. You're in California, my friend. You'll make margaritas instead out of that fresh snow.
Yeah, but it's a long-held misconception that California is all sandy beaches and palm trees. That's
there's
south,
Bigfoot.
Southern. That's in the north. Our beaches here are generally very rocky and frigid. It's actually fairly cold here, except during the summer.
And lots of sharks.
We're lots and lots of sharks, but it's diametrically opposite to Southern California. So,
well, there you go.
People think that it's all that we walk around in tank tops and bikinis like 24/7, 365.
You look good in a bikini.
I would look. I got my bikini dad bod back.
Nice.
Yeah, I got a dad bod. It's not happening.
I think we got time for
no
one
man
more,
bun,
my friend.
No man bun.
I don't have a man bun.
I got the beard.
I got the hair down today. That's all that matters.
Your hair is unnatural.
You are jealous.
I'm not.
One more story, my friend.
I'm going to the barber on Friday to remove the hair that I have. to make it short again so I can be happy.
Disappointing.
Speaking of hair, Florida man used a wig as a disguise during a robbery, deputies say. It worked against him. A man wearing a gray sweatshirt and a wig walked up to the cash register at a Florida 7-Eleven as if he was going to make a purchase, but instead he pulled out a gun and demanded cash, Lee County Sheriff's Office said. Deputies say the wig helped nab the robber. According to the Sheriff's Office, David Rodriguez, 28, walked into a Fort Myers 7-Eleven just after 9 p.m. Saturday, demanded cash, and took off. Deputies responded after reports of just occurred robbery and were able to get a detailed suspect description of the suspect, the Sheriff's Office said in a Facebook post. The man was described as being in his 20s, wearing a gray hood, a sweater, and a wig. Deputies searched around the area with the help of a helicopter and canine units. After receiving additional witness information, deputies responded to a nearby apartment complex where they found Rodriguez. Deputies noted Rodriguez was sweating profusely, the Sheriff's Office said. Deputies cleared the residence, noting in plain view a gray hooded sweatshirt, several wigs, and a large amount of wadded cash in an open dresser drawer. Rodriguez was arrested and charged with robbery with a firearm and is being held at Lee County Jail. So,
well, first of all, you don't run home knowing the dog can track your scent. Make sure you have a getaway car. First. Or a river, yeah. Run through the river or a creek or something like that. Exactly.
You know, if I was to rob somebody, I would have gone into the water and disposed of my sweatshirt and wig in the water.
You might want to take the wig off, just saying.
Yes. I thought that was assumed. But yes, since you needed to be clear, yes, I would take the wig off.
Only in Florida, my friend. Only in Florida. On that note, let's get to the thought of the day.
Let's do it.
Thought of the Dave happens every night at this time, where we post a question on our Facebook and Twitter pages and then read your responses on the air, because we love the audience participation around here. So today's Thought of the Dave is as follows. Where have you noticed the most spiritual growth within yourself? Tell me about it. Well, let's get to it.
Let's do it.
Robin starts things off. He says, in my heart, since I've had that chakra cleansing, I feel like I can do anything. My first thought that night was like, I can take over the world. That's a good cleansing, Robin. Very good cleansing. Serena says she's pretty calm and enjoys the contentment of her spirituality. That's always nice. Sylvia, I've learned tolerance and apathy. Well, that's nice. Bobby, down in Australia. She goes, after asking and focusing on the big questions of truth and our reality, I found my answers. Wonder what that's like to find the answers, Olaf. I don't know.
You got me. I'm still looking. But I've
I'm still
worked
looking
a lot
too.
on attachment. I've worked a lot on attachment to material objects, although I am holding a cell phone.
Are there some hoarding tendencies there?
No, not at all. It's
all right.
Just, you know, I don't want to be bound by objects.
Gotcha.
To me, memories and knowledge is more important than physical objects.
I don't blame you. Let's get to Paul. He says with shame. Paul says, with my thoughts and words, sometimes I don't understand how I understand things. I am not that educated. Chris, becoming a member of Forest Moon Paranormal, being able to instruct and teach protection really opened up a part of me that I was just sitting idle. My mind now has opened up to a whole new world of facts, findings, and a chance to meet people in the paranormal field. Billy says, 10 acres of paradise in British Columbia. Little Richie G, when I roll on my back and check underneath. I don't get it. Joyce, when I began to see the truth outside the boundaries of religious teachings, away from all things that support that deception as a way to live life. It has been a slow process, as everything in modern life adds to the confinement of thought. And Gabe has the final word today. I used to want to burn everyone alive when someone got under my skin. Now I think otherwise, even though the jerks deserve it. Good place to end it. Where can we find Paranoia Magazine, Mr. Olaf?
Paranoia Magazine on Facebook, Paranoia Mags on Twitter, and the Paranoid Traveler on our new rebuilt Roku channel, the Paranoia channel in the channel store.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, my friend. We'll talk to you tomorrow night. Thanks to Captain Shirk from the SOR Newswire for making things happen. You can check the news by going to our website, spacedoutradio.com, clicking on the news tab. We want to say thank you to listening in to Geraldine Orozco tonight from BayAreaMeditation.com in San Francisco, California. Geraldine is here for the Spiritual You the first Tuesday of every month. She will be back on Tuesday, March 5th. Tomorrow night on the show, we're getting all paranormal with investigator and author Becky Vickers. Tomorrow night's going to be a good one, peeps. Totally. We're talking the legend of the Goatman Bridge. Do you believe it? Do you not? It's a freaky story nonetheless. Tomorrow night, 9:06 Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern at spacedoutradio.com. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal rocking in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everyone listening in at home, at work, in your cars, wherever you may be. A big thanks to everyone on Spreaker, in the chat rooms, on Facebook, Revolution Radio, and of course at hashtag Spaced Out Radio on Twitter. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for being a part of what we do each and every night, because together, my friends, we own the night. I will talk to you in 21 hours from now. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Good night.
We're watching. We watch you fall.